Okay, I think we are live. I just want to do a quick little rundown here of Sunday, because my dad and I, and possibly one of my Storm Chaser buddies, is planning on chasing. So, Zero Z HRRR just came in, and it is definitely interesting. Here, I'm gonna kind of go into more a localized. I don't know what the greatest spot is. Let's go here. So it's firing off some fairly discrete supercells in the northeast Indiana, northwest Ohio, and like southern central Michigan area, which is honestly pretty ideal for me, at least for chasing. Environmentally speaking, it's not too terrible. Your thermodynamics are very, very good, but your kinematics, which is just your wind profile, is not as good. I'm seeing a lot of, I don't know, just like the mid and upper levels kind of collapse on themselves, which I'm not necessarily liking that much. But other than that, it's not too terrible. I mean, it's worth a chase. So we will be, I don't know what the best sector to be on is. Maybe it's Michigan, just for, no, it's definitely not. I don't know, I'll just go back to the Midwest section then. I just wanted to get a little bit of a closer look, but generally speaking, not many, but a few discrete supercells look possible here in this region. And here, I want to compare this actually just real quick to 18Z, which was the previous one that we had to go off of, which that would have ended, where would it have ended? 42, yeah. So generally speaking, they're both kind of on the same, they're not really actually. They're both on the same page though, that storms will form first in like this area of Illinois. But as far as the amount of convection, especially in the morning, that was interesting to see, because this model run specifically showed more convection in the morning right here in Illinois, which blocked a lot of your instability from getting north. And so initially when the model run was coming in, I was like, I don't know if this is going to do it, because compare this to 18Z, which had a giant spread of cape like up to here by this point. I was like, all right, maybe this isn't going to do it, but the atmosphere quickly recovers in this scenario. It actually gets quite potent, again, thermodynamically speaking, but we'll see how well this verifies. Hoping to see tomorrow too with 060 HRRR. That will give us an even better picture. And then, especially by 18Z tomorrow, that's typically when models get fairly locked in with the actual, I guess, reflectivity products, and it will show it more, generally speaking, at least, with a more, I guess, just a more accurate forecast of what will actually happen. And it's interesting. So even, I might not even go that far, because this northern part here in Michigan, even, northern part of the risk, right along the warm front, which is right in my county, it honestly doesn't look too bad either. So I think it's just going to be kind of a waiting game and just see what storms look most potent. There are some, I guess, indications that this region, so my more local area, will definitely have some storms, but they don't look to be as necessarily robust of updrafts. Like you can see here, there's definitely something, but it's nowhere near as intense as it is down here along the Indiana-Ohio border. And what I really like about this too, you get discrete supercells firing, and then it morphs into kind of a squall line, which might be interesting to chase, get some cool shelf cloud action after hopefully a possible tornado too. So, I mean, we'll watch the trends for sure, but, you know, right now we're pretty set on chasing, I would say. I don't think it's much of a debate at this point. And I also want to take a look, just real quick too, before I get off. This is going to be a quick live stream here. But I want to take a look at, what is it, next Wednesday, I believe. which also looks to be a somewhat interesting system kind of in the Midwest region. Right now, thermodynamics are not really there, but that's also because it's a global model, so these are going to be highly skewed compared to what will likely actually happen. But again, within our general region, looks to be some potential for tornadoes, and as you can see here, this one is pretty much the exact opposite of what we're seeing Sunday. Kinematically speaking, or with your wind shear, this is just as ideal as you can possibly get. But thermodynamically speaking, you don't really see as good of a profile. What I like to look for too is a lot of lower level cape, just generally speaking at least. Obviously there's a lot more that you can look for, but just, I guess for now, comparing this environment to Sunday's, thermodynamically speaking, so all your instability, you like to see, especially for tornadoes, because tornadoes are surface-based phenomena, you want to see a lot of that instability in the low levels, which if you don't know how to read this, kind of just like a general way to visualize the cape is the, I guess, spacing between this dotted white line and the red line, which the red line's your temperature, the dotted white line's like your environmental temperature parcel trace, I forget the exact name, but that distance between it is your rough, I guess, amount of cape. So right here, you can see there's a lot more cape, but right in these low levels, there's really not much of anything at all. And if we look down here at our actual parameters, it says 3 cape is only at 7, which is not ideal because you want a lot of lower level instability for tornadoes. But I honestly wouldn't be surprised if wind shear somehow makes up for this. And again, this is a global model, so this is likely going to change, and it will likely get a lot more intense. But I mean, this is a big system, down into Oklahoma even. You've got a really big loaded gun scenario down there, which if storms form will definitely produce probably some tornadoes. I mean, it's still a little bit too far out, but I mean, the Euro's just got a really big solution for this, a really hot solution for this. It's quite intense, but it's got us right over the exit region of the trough too, which I really like. Basically meaning that any storms that should go up will likely, well, there will likely be more discrete storms than not, which obviously is better for tornadoes. And I mean, this is a bomb of a cyclone. I've not really looked at Wednesday yet, so this is kind of my first look. If you look at GFS, I know GFS does not have like any instability far north for us, but it is still showing an absolute potent system. Man, that's an even better and worse look, depending on how you look at it. But I mean, this is what GFS is showing too for Sunday. So I mean, obviously it's going to be underdoing a lot of instability. So we'll see, but this is what GFS shows, just a little thin band. So right now, like here, if I go to compare the models, we go out to Wednesday, we want like 21Z probably, so like, is that 5 p.m. roughly? We have 3 models loaded in for this range, at least with this type of parameter. The Euro, which is the one we looked at with that one PDS Tor sounding, it has, you know, some cape up there in the north, but it's kind of just like a narrow thin band. Again, I'm expecting this to change. This is global models. Everything will for sure change. It's still several days out, but this is what the Euro shows. The GFS shows pretty much nothing in the north, and then the UK Met, which always typically overdoes instability, shows a absolute, like, this would be, I don't want to say it, but this would be super outbreak material if this happened. This won't happen though. More than likely, if that happens, that would be insane. But at this time, I think most realistic solution is probably going to be the Euro. Just, I feel like it's been handling these systems fairly well lately. Especially I liked it with the Pi Day outbreak. It was kind of underdoing all that instability in Illinois and Iowa before like the GFS was, and that turned out to be more accurate than not. So who knows? Maybe this will verify a little bit better. But definitely an interesting look. I want to see a 12Z too. Don't typically like to go back on model runs, but I want to see kind of how like what it shows further out, because there's a ton of this lingering cape down here along the Gulf. Yes, this is the system that comes in. Still showing a solid environment, and I mean, this would be a pretty long-lived severe weather outbreak before, you know, that cape kind of just finally gets out of there. But especially within like the Gulf region, deep south, might be an interesting next week for you guys. But I want to focus again, just real quick, on Sunday. I think NAM is now loading in actually, but it's only at 27 frames, so we're not really gonna have a great look at anything. But yeah, HRRR looks fairly solid. Just to wrap this up quick, we will, my dad and I and one of my Storm Chaser friends, Blaine, we will be chasing Sunday, more than likely again at this point. I think it's pretty set that we will be. And the timing on the HRRR too, that's one more thing I just want to mention, is so perfect. Right before it gets dark. So typically, I mean this time of year, it gets dark by around 00Z, which is 8 p.m. Eastern time, I believe. So all of these storms are happening at like just the ideal time. We're gonna need to wake up a little bit early, I guess, just to get down there, but I don't really mind. It's well worth it. Spring break too, so next Wednesday hopefully we'll be able to chase as well, especially if it's as potent as it's showing to be. We'll find a way, don't worry. But yeah, just to wrap things up, we'll be chasing Sunday. I might do another update later tomorrow as well, but for sure a potent look, and we'll definitely be interested to see how the models show the system tomorrow morning as well, and into tomorrow afternoon. But yeah, so just to wrap this up, we'll be chasing. Obviously I said that a million times now, but yeah, I'll see you guys either when I upload the video and on like Honor Chase, or if I do another live stream probably tomorrow. Realistically, I wouldn't do on Sunday because that would be, yeah, day of.